The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new. I am Zaira Tumang and I'm streaming live from Taguig City.
And hi, I'm Joseph Sylvester and I'm streaming live from Parañaque City. So good afternoon. This is Crypto Chic, developing the digital into reality, Season 1, Episode 6 on TNC.
Hi guys and welcome back to another show here on TNC. This episode we want to discuss a bit on who we are, meaning who is Crypto Chic, aside from it's me and Sly. And our main advocacy in blockchain is for everyone, meaning not just the haves, not just us, the normal developer and founder, but for everybody. However, blockchain is still new and a young technology and a trend that people we know ask the question, how do you develop digital into reality? And when most people don't understand is that technology has a lot of facets. So we respond simply by saying we help people understand the digital side of blockchain to help develop and form their idea into a tangible and real product. So, as usual, I have my co-host Sly, who will help explain a bit about the nitty-gritty of how our team over at Crypto Chic develops and builds projects from start to finish.
All right. So, hi Z. Glad to be
Hey.
back on the show. All right, so let me just share my screen really quick. Okay. All right, so allow me to walk the users slowly on what we do here over at Crypto Chic to help develop blockchain projects. So what I want to emphasize as I explain this is that we're here to listen first, understand, who you are as a team or who you are as a project, and we want to get to know your project. We want to get a taste of what you're trying to present to hopefully your potential customers or clients or the audience. Okay, so now most importantly, we want to make sure projects understand their own project's visions and goals. Surprisingly, this is coming from experience firsthand. Okay, so from there we can identify if there are missing pieces or components in your project in which our services over at Crypto Chic can provide value. Okay, so here's the reality. Okay, here's the reality. When clients come to us and are entering the blockchain space, usually for the first time, a majority of the time it comes down to three things. We have development, we got the market research, and digital marketing. These are the usual three. However, there are more parts to it. Okay. Now, out of these three things, we're lucky if clients have at least one solid foundation in any of the three. Okay. It's kind of like the blockchain trilemma: scalability, decentralization, and security. You got to usually pick one. But in any case, the truth is most clients have a basic idea of what they want to kind of get off the ground, but don't really have a good grasp, in terms of the long-term goal and how to make it sustainable. Okay. So, when it comes to blockchain, let's say, when it comes to a lot of the blockchain projects, our team is well versed in the processes. Now, this is the key word. Now, a lot of what we try to identify for clients is the processes that's taking place from the start to the end of, let's say, a project. And a lot of project managers know this, that there are processes. Okay, so we are well versed in the processes in terms of blockchain. Just to kind of get you started off, usually on the right foot, because it's always the first step that sets the pace and the precedence in terms of like
Mhm.
all future steps moving forward with a project. Okay. Now, we've mentioned several times on the show that there are things to consider, especially when it comes to, and I'm referring to blockchain projects, are things like tokenomics, psychology of users and players, and the
Mhm.
utility aspect of blockchain projects. So again, there's more, of course, but usually these are the common components. Okay. Now, oops. So when we explain these components, we want clients to understand the gravity of what they're getting into. Um, if they say they're in it for the long term, but when we find out that it's probably a short term thing, we kind of have to explain that, or we explain that to clients. Okay. Yeah. Also,
Kind of laugh here because we turned out a couple of projects because we see some gray area in it, and maybe basing on our own experience, we kind of know already which one will last, or if this founders or developers have a long-term goal, or they just want to make money out of it, and for the lack of a better term, probably it will not succeed.
well, that is true. I'll get more into that in terms of whether or not the blockchain project is good or bad. But you're correct. But the thing is, what we have to identify first is, again, as mentioned, do the project team understand their own project? Um, so that's why for point number two, it's like what is needed to get from start to finish after we identify number one for the client. And number three, of
Mhm.
course, the sustainability of the project over the long term. Okay. Now, long term can be from, let's say, 6 months to a year. It depends on the goal of the project. Yeah.
Actually,
Uh,
maybe to add to that slide, sustainability, I believe that it should be hand in hand with the vision. Is mostly with most of the projects that come to us, they have a product, but they don't actually have a vision into it, looking into the future. They just want to be, let's say, an example, they want to be saleable, or they want to be in a metaverse. But what is really a clear vision for those people, or for their company even, to go into this kind of business?
Yeah, that's true. Firsthand, you and I, and probably and other team members as well. We've been through this, but yeah, but you know what? That's an important thing, because that is actually you know one of the problems about blockchain projects is that most are not well thought out, and it's not, and that the blockchain is not like traditional technologies where it takes years to evolve into something grand. So when you're talking about projects that just come in, they have a idea, you know, yeah, most of the time it's just not well thought out. However, it's an idea that Crypto Chic as a team what we do is we try to enhance it. Okay. Now, when we
Mhm.
go back to the idea of email, okay, so this is the mentality a lot of projects have, is that, blockchain is something that's going to, slowly expand, which it is. But blockchain as its own ecosystem, the problem is it's always changing. Yeah. It's not a traditional technology again. Okay. So, um, put it this way. We are where, in terms of blockchain, we are where email was decades ago, where there is a lot of backlash. People prefer the old ways of sending
Mhm.
information, which is, if you lived in the States, it's usually through, a post office. If it's here in the
Yeah,
Philippines,
snail
you
mail.
know, snail
Put a
mail.
stamp
It's
into it. Go to the
uh,
post office.
right, right, and things like that. It just, people were so used to that. So right now we're in the concept of blockchain now, where, people think that this idea will work, you know as we progress with blockchain, let's say, development. Okay. Now, there was backlash with that, but eventually, over a period of time, let's say over a decade, people kind of got used to the idea of email, and now it is part of everyone's life. You can open up
Mhm.
Gmail, Yahoo Mail, things like that. And the thing is, by the time a person exits high school, they already know what email is. I mean, that's part of their lifestyle. It's not even a work requirement because it's assumed that you know how to use email. Okay. So that's where we are with blockchain. Eventually, we'll get to the point where it's assumed that you understand what cryptocurrency is. Okay. So that's where we are. All right. So now every year, I just want to talk a little bit more on the blockchain. Is that blockchain releases new token standards, new forms of governance, and different ways to approach general scenarios where a smart contract is involved. Now, blockchain technology impacts not only industries and our way of life, it's also affecting everything else around us. Okay. So, again, when we look at this slide, I mean, basically, when we look at Asia, okay, so there are a lot of events that affects cryptocurrencies, and then cryptocurrencies, and again, those cryptocurrencies affect us in terms of how we live. For example, the ideas of NFT, opportunities for artists, huge, huge, and we've seen that, especially in the news. Um, Blockchain helps fight climate change. So this is the idea of, let's say, a lot of blockchain projects switching over from proof of work, which is very energy intensive, to proof of stake, which is
Mm.
very less energy. Okay. Also, the idea of DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, a lot have been forming up recently. Okay. And crypto disrupts international development. So, this is where we start talking about central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. So, you understand now that when we look at blockchain, every single year, there's something coming out that affects the market of cryptocurrencies, and the cryptocurrencies affecting our lives. Okay, so this is not a
Right.
slow technology. This is actually a
Mm.
really quick technology, is what I'm trying to point out on this slide.
And it's not one after the other. It's like all together, all at the
Hmm.
same time happening.
Yeah, exactly. So think of it like this, what happens in crypto uh, affects us as people globally, in a sense. Yeah, it's asynchronous.
Right.
Okay. So now we see that cryptocurrencies does affect us in terms of our daily life and how it's going to be integrated in our lives. Okay.
Mm.
So so let's talk about um, let's talk about some scenarios in the past, like how cryptocurrencies have affected us. Okay. Now, in the past, um, let me see. So here's a good scenario. So we have ICOs, okay? So initial coin offerings. I mean, this was huge right around 2016 up
Mm.
until 2018. Okay,
2018. Yeah.
right. So again, ICO stands for initial coin offering. Now, what that basically means is that a project will do some kind of math and say how much of our project's token will we release to users or to the public? Okay, so this is
Mhm.
the idea of tokenomics. Okay, now what we've seen in the past is that a lot of ICO projects who improperly did their tokenomics after the 2017 bull run, everyone was investing left and right on tokens, you know, projects, if you will. Come 2018, after the 2017 high, everyone was just selling off because
Mhm.
people or projects didn't understand at the time that, people by nature are investors. They want to buy things that are a great deal and in hopes
Mhm.
of making money.
Mhm.
But because of the improper usage of tokenomics, that's the reason why in 2018 everyone was selling off. Literally, again, markets, Bitcoin, everything fell like past 90%. Like it's just everything just dropped. Okay. So, but why? It's the improper use of tokenomics. Okay. At that time. Okay. So, we can look at today. What is happening today that why I bring this up? Because projects, in terms of, let's say, NFT gaming, right? Projects out there like, let's say, Squid Game token. I mean, everybody. I mean, I know you. I know you watch Squid Game. Hopefully, you watch Squid Game. It's a really good show. But then
I did.
someone, right? But someone out there created this.
Somebody dropped. I mean, he probably trend jacked with the hype of that and created a token
Right,
and was probably in a week or two he was somewhere, I don't know where. He just disappeared.
right. So again, so these are the things that we identify here at Crypto Chic in terms of, when you talk to us, we can already tell what kind of project it is because we look at, past projects. So again, Squid Game
Mhm.
token, improper use of tokenomics. Okay, everyone sold off after, whoever made money. We also have another
Mhm.
game called Bomb Crypto. People invested in the idea of this NFT game. So they bought the token project. I think it's just called Bomb Token. But the idea is because of improper tokenomics, people said, it's not worth it. I don't see the value anymore. There is no long term sustainability. So what happens?
Mhm.
People sell off. Again, improper tokenomics. Okay. But I thought we learned our lesson in 2018. Why are projects still doing this? It's because no one's guiding them. It's still, common aspect in the blockchain world, just improper use of certain mechanics. In this case, it's tokenomics. All right. So now we have STOs. Okay. So these are security token offerings. Now, a lot of projects still kind of offer this, but most don't. They go more towards the DeFi side now, just to kind of like get around certain legal issues. Because when we say DeFi, basically we're using already existing cryptocurrencies to swap to, let's say, a project's token, or in this case, it could be an STO. But the idea of STO is the idea that you got investors buying in on a token because it's going to rise in value later on. Okay, so there's a lot of regulation going on here. So the
So
reason
it's
why I'm
like
pointing
similar to stocks, right?
similar to
A little
stocks,
bit.
but it's that's why there's like a lot of banning on, well, not really a banning on STOs, but just banning in the idea of when projects come out there saying, "Hey, this is our token, buy it with cash." That is the problem. Buy it with cash. That's the red flag there. But if you want to do it in a way where people to get a project's token, they use, let's say, a swap. Okay, like a DeFi swap or basically a swap. You kind of get around certain legal issues there. So yeah. Now, here's the point that I'm trying to make is that without the basic understanding of blockchain and research on projects that were done in the past, your project will tend to be dead in the water. So, our team is here to help navigate your idea to market. Okay. So, that way, you know, we can help identify where to put you, market fit, things like that. And with the added value of mitigating as much short term risk while increasing value to your own project long term. Okay.
Yes, because so in short, we help not just to identify the projects, not just to enhance their projects or fill in the gaps or the potential shortcomings that they may encounter along the way. And it gives them the proper perspective as to how to budget their marketing campaigns, how the phasing of their development. Do they need an actual person for that, or there's no need because that's redundancy? In a way, we can say that if a project doesn't understand their own project,
Right.
where we add value is we provide a clear roadmap and different options that can make a blockchain project clear and concise so that potential users understand what it's all about during the pre-launch, and there's a proper communication to their market. And upon launch, it is clear for them how to use it. And maybe, during the launch, they might be able to enjoy it right then and there and share it away to your friends. There's a clear communication from the development phase to the actual development and to the actual launching of each project. And from there, we can build the sustainability, the program, and the roadmap. And we'll see how the market reacts to that. And that's where you grow your community and engage with them and hopefully make it potentially beneficial, not just for the users, but for the developers to earn the amount of money that they're looking at into the future.
Yep. Big time. And just to add on to that, um, when projects start, um, sometimes what happens is that sometimes a project might exhaust certain options. They hit a roadblock. They run out of content.
Hmm.
One of the things at Crypto
Right.
Chic is that when clients who are already in mid development, meaning they have a functioning project, they're kind of like, I don't know what to do with this right now. We're lost. Well, we can still
Hmm.
assist and help you in terms of where we can come in as Crypto Chic to basically add value to your project. So it's not that we can start projects; we can actually help projects move along, even if they're in mid development. Okay. So
It,
yeah.
it it makes a lot of sense, like, because in real world, in any kind of business and in reality, when you open up a business, you kind of have hype into the projects or the products that you have in mind. But while you're doing it, you hit a roadblock or a plateau, and you seek your friend's advice, right? Or you call in some of your advisors. And that's how we are also positioned in Crypto Chic. We're in, although we have not been with them from the beginning, but assessment or analysis of what they have done and what needs to be committed in that particular moment will save them a lot of money and time. And hopefully, we not to revive, but let's say put some more value into what they're doing. And maybe it can be a better road than the previous road they're looking for. Because now it's not just their team, but also our team working with them.
Right. And this is what we call, the idea of maybe if one direction doesn't work, maybe there's a different direction that will work. So that's where our team also comes in. We find the direction for you. This is where we talk about, we help navigate projects. Yeah. So yeah.
Right. So, one of the highlights in our ability to integrate and technologies into brands and products, I'm sure there are brand managers or company owners who are watching this show and maybe later on our repeat that could potentially provide viral exposure. Nowadays, what we're buying is for the attention of people because there's so much noise in there, so much information in there, and you just needed that particular hit of a button, like a 2 minute kind of video for you to expose your product and be able to communicate uh, your product to your community or to your followers, of course, in a very good way. And as you mentioned earlier, blockchain is continuously evolving. It doesn't stop. And blockchain projects that don't keep up with the trend tend to get lost and stick with failing trends. And that happens. And as you mentioned, the concept of ICO and STO are concepts brought about when Ethereum ERC20 standard is released around 2016. I mean, now it's 2022. I'm sure there's a lot of things that happened. Blockchain projects saw a lot of potentials, and the use cases that flew, and they became successful. Some others just stumble and wrap into darkness. And this use case of wrapping a project around a token is now being accepted all over the world. And although this may have cost projects at the time to make potential profit, it also resulted to a lot of major financial loss when, of course, the users were excited about one particular project, and they have a gain for a couple of months or a year or two. They exited during 2018, and that's good. But this results in backlash and a negative association with any ICO or STO project in the future projects. So in a way, for me, it's like a last man standing or last project standing. Especially now we're here into a deep dive of blockchain, and the pricing of cryptocurrency is really in a very phenomenal stage. So, however, when we look at new trends that come out year after year, our team has recognized a lot of pattern that the majority of token standards have different names but slightly improved functions. And with the idea of ICO, the trend is now with what you mentioned a while ago, DAO, the centralized autonomous organization. The concept still remains the same, in which the idea of, instead of buying up a coin or a token directly with cash, DAO tokens can now be swapped using methods like DeFi, using only existing cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, BNB, Polygon, and much more. I mean, if I have more money right now, honestly, I'd buy more BNB. And so our team understands and identifies the newest blockchain standards, trends, and new meta early on the beginning. So that way we get early on the trend. We always thought about this before the internet has blown, before any other trends had blown. I wish I had an Apple with me back in the day. I wish I had this particular Ayala shares back in the day. But now it's Meta. When Facebook changed its name to Meta, everybody wants to get into that bandwagon of metaverse. So right here and now with Crypto Chic, that's what we wanted to do as well, is to educate everybody and to get informed what's going on with blockchain, and to provide that information as a valuable project to them, and who choose to do some sort of Crypto Chic project or any collaboration there might be.
So yeah, I mean that's true. So that's one of the things, and I'll get into that as well. It's the idea of the what I call basically the adoption curve, and it's a pretty unique thing. I was introduced to it a couple years ago. That's why I'm in the blockchain space. But anyway, yes, I do agree. From a developer's standpoint, we safely say that strong trends in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space have a maximum. Okay, again, trends in the blockchain space usually have a maximum of a two or 3 year life cycle, and I'll explain it here. So let's look at a few examples. I mentioned a lot of the ERC20. Okay, when ERC20 came out, ICOs and STO blockchain projects they exploded onto the scene. So from the inception of ERC20, which was I believe it was released in 2016. Okay, the ERC20 standard, where people or any person can create their own tokens on Ethereum. Okay. Okay. Now, when we look at 2019, that trend basically died off, and what took its place? That is the question. What took its place in 2019? So now we have the idea of the ERC 721. Okay, this is the standard for NFTs. Okay, now the data will point out that it was started way a couple years before 2019, but it was only in 2019 it finally kind of got its official name, the NFT. Okay, so From there, it's now 2022. I mean, we have the NFT. NFTs got popular. Everyone was loving it. But now, what is taking the place of NFTs? Well, NFTs somehow is sticking to the market, but what are the ecosystems within NFT? You have the gaming side, the metaverse side, the DAO side, environment friendly blockchain, things like that. There's an ecosystem within an ecosystem, is what I'm pointing out. But now, what's
But
going to take?
what? But I think. Sorry to interrupt. But before we get into that, maybe we can take a break and listen to
Mm,
your new projects and possibly what we're looking at into Crypto Chic after
sure.
this break.
All right, awesome. Okay, so
TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Watch Crypto Chic bi-monthly every Saturday at 1:30 p.m. You can watch live on a replay via Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on IG. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search hashtag TNC now. For sponsorship, please email now at thenewchannel.com or send us a DM. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them for you. So, Sly, you were
Yeah.
saying a while ago about 2021 and how it transformed to ERC 721, similar term to NFT, and what it has transpired over 2022 right now.
Right. So what we're looking at really is when Crypto Chic, we do a lot of research. So we're starting to what we see in terms of the data and what is being presented to us is the idea is that there's an overlapping of technologies. Okay, so
Hmm.
ERC20 eventually evolved into ER721. To simplify, basically, it's still a token, but it has a picture on it. Okay, so there again it looks the same, it sounds the same, but there's just additional functions and features. So what are we looking at Crypto Chic? We're looking at data here. Okay, so let's take a look at the NFT and metaverse. Okay, so when we look at what is happening in, I guess, 2022 in the years prior, okay, we're looking at a lot of interest in terms of NFTs and metaverse. Okay, one of our strong points here at Crypto Chic. Okay, so when we look at the data, basically, Philippines, according to the data, one out of every two users, in terms of the idea, interest, if they probably looked it up on a Google search, things like that, one out of two people have heard about it, are searching it up and trying to understand it more. Okay, now when we look at the metaverse side, we're looking at people already engaging, um, not particular not particularly in a metaverse like we describe it, but the idea of
Mhm.
already in gaming that is kind of like a metaverse. So if you're doing
Mhm.
Minecraft, I will admit right now that is its own metaverse. You can do a lot of things there. If they just threw a blockchain thing in there and integrated it, consider it done. It's a metaverse. So people who play
Mhm.
Roblox, people who play Minecraft, things like that. I mean, they too, as gamers or users of their own platform, have heard of the metaverse and are probably engaging in it in some way. So there is interest in entities, metaverse, and the data shows. Okay, so in terms of uh, that, when we look at projects approaching us here at Crypto Chic, we're thinking, how do we get your project at this level? Okay, so so that way you can tap into like early investors and users that see your projects um, are relevant before the new trend starts to take off. So this is where I'm about to talk about the adoption curve a bit later. Okay, so the idea is to kind of be here right before that adoption curve happens, because then your
Mhm.
project is ready to go and it's ready for market. And this is a highly sought out skill. Clients that want to see with teams. Okay, and Crypto Chic does
Mhm.
have that skill. So yeah.
And the reason why most of the time they come to us is that not only that we understand blockchain and cryptocurrency, because like you're a developer and also a trader, and as me, I'm a marketer, and I'm doing a lot of things in the past that is doable and making a success in the project, like in sales as well as connecting to the market. And we kind of have a lot of intelligent skills and the skill sets all together in one group to make a successful project in blockchain and technology. So what we do basically is find these trends early on, spotting them on, seeing if we can do something about it and position our projects on that trend line and develop and maintain and sustain these projects along what you mentioned, the curve path.
Hmm. Okay, so I want to share one last thing in terms of what do you call this? One last example. It's going to be very quick. Yeah. Okay. So now, when we look at the idea of developing crypto chic is doing is being lined up right now. I mean, one of the things
Mhm.
that we work on it really is metaverses. So I got an example right here. Okay. So basically, it looks like a game. It's a little bit more improved than the last metaverse that I created, but
Oh.
yeah. So you can do a lot of things. You can crouch and um, you know, you know what this does. It pisses people off. But the idea is here at Crypto Chic, I mean, we're looking at continuous ideas of where we can find the trends. What are people looking into? Instead of using older technologies, because currently right now
Mhm.
what we do is we do Unity development and we also do Unreal Engine as well. Okay, so as you can see here as an example, so what we want to let our audience know here at TNC, and what we want to know, let potential clients know when they kind of work with us, we want to take that guesswork out as much as possible
Mhm.
because we've already done the research. All you need to do is come to
Right.
us, sit down, and that's it. And we'll find the best route basically for clients. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Um, from there, by finding the best route, basically people can just like say, hey, you know what? We were expecting this is going to take about 6 months because now we know the route. It's like maybe,
Mhm.
we can reduce it a couple months. Things like that. That's the idea of
Mhm.
knowing how to navigate this market, is to say, hey, these are our phases, these are our stop points, whatever you want to call them. And there you go. This is your
No, no.
path. Okay.
Not only that, we make them realize if, of course, there's an idea brewing into your head, and as founders, you're being optimistic about a lot of things, and you deal it with your team, and as part of the team, you wanted to engage, but sometimes there are factors that are not realistic, and sort of like first building your community. It takes time to talk to your clients, and not actually for you to talk to your clients. You can easily do that, but for clients to talk to you and say, hey, you're doing this the correct way, maybe you can try and do this thing, or maybe keep them engaged. So we're trying to make it realize for most of the founders and developers that um, us in CryptoSheet, we wanted to mitigate all of those costs into something that is valuable and tangible right at that moment, and utilize the assets that they have, and be able to make it a success without being burdened by the short timeline that they did, because honestly in that particular moment they don't actually need to do steps 1, 2, and 3, but we only need to have step 1 for the meantime, and then analyze it and how the market reacts to it. So we're here to guide and direct projects, and really heavily on the data to find the next trend. When a project is successful, everybody involved is successful, and that includes us. So one of our mission is to make your vision come into reality and make it a success. Much of that feeling of success can also be transferred to financial freedom. So how do we address that in Crypto Chic? Our core value will always be, of course, education. That's the reason why we're here in TNC, and engage to the market and be able to sound off what we are trying to say in terms of many projects, in terms of many ideas. And Chicks is a very data driven in how we approach this. That, and instead of providing many topics that most users or businesses will skip over, we are honestly approaching this in three main areas. So, number one is us teaching the technology side. If those of you have been with us in the beginning, we have tackled blockchain 101 and other forms of NFT, the metaverse. So we're kind of getting out um, the difficulty into the terms and terminologies and relating it to what you are right now, where we are right now in the trend, and how is it going. Number two is teaching the financial side, where uh, we all know, especially now, everybody wants to earn more, but we don't want to lose more. That's for sure. So we wanted to put where our money should be and timely. And number three is teaching the blockchain integration into your business or Web3 side. Because I'm sure there are a lot of you right now who's um, being creative. You have this idea that you think would benefit not just your community, but also many other people. Yes, it's doable. And maybe you have a business that is existing right now that you wanted to um, be relatable to the market. And let's just say you want to be into the trend, but you don't know how to do that. So these are three main areas covering a wide majority of interest in terms of what people want to learn. Our objective is to provide the skill, knowledge, and exposure needed to excel in and to achieve, hopefully, not losing your money, but gain financial freedom.
Right. So when we look at, let's say, when we teach technology, we want to engage our users or students, on what's currently out there. So of course we go through the basics. What is a blockchain network? The difference between coins or tokens, wallet addresses. Then we start going a little bit more advanced slowly.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of smart contracts, how to write one, how to publish one, and then building your first decentralized application. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
the financial freedom here is that if most people, they work, right, but at the same time, let's say while they work, they can learn these skills, and hopefully as time progresses in their own lives, they will see opportunities where they can apply the knowledge that they learned from us, and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
move laterally using the same skills or whatever they have, plus the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
that we teach them, and basically, move laterally in their career path, but more towards blockchain. A good example would be kind of like me. I was just IT, your basic desktop technician, server work, things like that. No idea of blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Once I got educated in the idea of blockchain, I saw that, hey, blockchain is still IT, but kind of more like it's its own beast basically. So I was able to move
Mm-hmm.
laterally and then kind of move up my career path within the framework of blockchain careers. So we talk. So what we're talking about is probably higher salaries, more in demand
Mm-hmm.
skills. So this is the type of
Mm-hmm.
financial freedom that we're discussing here. So
So
better
what
salaries.
about, yeah, of course. I mean, when you educate yourself and you're more curious than ever and you deal with this every now and then, it becomes part of your life. And what I'm trying to say here is, what does it do with your financial freedom when you just learn from financial side? Most of the time, Filipinos wants to dig into that piece of pie, not knowing what they're into, and that's where they lose a lot of your money.
Right. So here, so when we teach the financial side of things, we specialize in teaching people how to trade, of course, and invest in the crypto market. But more importantly, we establish solid foundations in how the crypto market works. Now, with everything being taught out there, I mean, again, I'm not going to name names. All I'm saying is people who teach how to trade, they teach the indicators, the momentum trading, charting, and much more. Of course, there's a lot to it, depending on who you're
Mm-hmm.
being taught by. But what we
Mm-hmm.
do is hone in on the data regarding, let's say trade pairs. What exchanges provide the best rebates? How do you get those rebates? And taking advantage of basically the system itself. Okay. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things. I know that it's mentioned out there, but it never really emphasized. Okay. Because exchanges kind of put themselves out there like that, where it's there, but no one talks about it. So what we want to make clear is that for users, we want to teach the users the fundamentals on how to use it in exchange against itself. So you want to know something interesting, Z?
What's that like?
This entire crypto market is one huge random walk.
What do you
Yeah.
mean? What do you mean it's a random walk?
Okay, so since we're talking about cryptocurrency trading, everyone probably has a background or is being taught either technical analysis, which is huge, and then of course the fundamental analysis. But basically, what a random walk dictates is that how the market moves. If you're trying to use previous performance to predict future performance, you can't
Mm.
do that. Again, this is under the theory now. Okay, so
Mm.
what I'm trying to state here is that through data, what Crypto Chic does is that we look through tons of data, okay, to actually recognize patterns. We understand that we cannot always use past to predict future, but what we can do is um, research the predictive patterns in certain trade
Mm.
pairs, how the exchanges work in the favor of the user. Again, it's things like it's there, but it's never mentioned, meaning it exists. So that's the things that we
Mm.
teach over at Crypto Chic in terms of financial freedom. Okay. So again, I mentioned the random walk theory. This entire you can even say forex is probably random is a random walk as well. Cryptocurrency is a random walk because again, when we look at the entire market, I mean everything looks like it's moving with one another. However, it's moving independently um, of other, let's say, certain trade pairs. Meaning
Mm.
everything moves
Mm.
independent, but there is a pattern being
Right.
established. Okay,
Mm.
so again, we teach students to find market edges and not rely too heavily on one type of thinking or too many strategies. Okay, but to be smart and to take every advantage there is and create strategies that with the best results. Okay, we want to eliminate basically the idea of overthinking and getting straight to determining which strategy works. Okay, so financial freedom. Um, what we're trying to do is we want to teach people and we want to provide products and services that allow people to open up their own doors or
Mm.
create their own doors. Okay.
Mm.
Now, with that being said, we are building at Crypto Chic, we are building basically a trading bot that harnesses that data and computational ability to get more winning and accurate trades. Because let's say you lose 50%. If you had like 1,000 pesos, you lost 50% of that. How much
Mm.
do you need to get back? You know, that is the question. So if you lost 50%, how much do you need to get back? You need to get back 100%, and that makes you break
Mm.
even. Our
Right.
objective basically is to mitigate that risk, that loss. Again, there's nothing perfect here, but it's to mitigate the losses so that way, in terms of getting the accurate trades right, things like that, you'll
Mm.
gain more. Okay, so again, reduce risk, accuracy, and basically providing to users with our trade bot that we are creating at Crypto Chic to kind of provide that financial freedom as well. So the bot and the education. So yeah.
We can't wait to see what you guys have in store in the team. I think I am the most excited for us to be able to make that happen, because not only that it will help all of us create another stream of income, but those who would believe in us and those who were educated and trying to make a way through trading cryptocurrency can use this trading bot. And just to sum it all up, Crypto Chic, we are data driven to find early trends and find tools and methods to speed up development for projects. For us, what a better way for us to be able to find something and be able to improve that particular product and to share it to the community. Not only that it would help our families, but it will also help your families gain financial freedom. And, just to focus is not just improving and scaling your project, but at the same time placing your project on the correct upward curve, what whatever the client may want to happen in the future. But you know in a lack of a better term as well, maybe this particular product that we're looking at Crypto Chic can pave way for not really like getting your own entire wealth going on right away, but at least it can help you pay for your rent, can help you pay for your electricity bill that is now crazy, and possibly help with the inflation that is going on. And hopefully it can make a lot of wonders, not just for our team, but to many others too.
Right. So yeah, and hopefully the electric what do you call this? The electric rebates kick in the next billing cycle because that will help us out. Okay. So yeah, so we discussed many things today, and I want to touch upon one last topic that we mentioned earlier in the show. It's the fact that a
Mhm.
good majority of people and industries are venturing into blockchain, being influenced by both good and bad ideas. Okay.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
the reality is, let's call a spade when we see it. If the blockchain looks like it's a rug pull or it's a scam, obviously a lot of people would just call it out. However,
But
when we look
you have to have the chance. If you have had the chance to spot it, you have to walk away and don't regret about it, huh?
Yeah. But the thing is, maybe the idea of the project isn't because it's bad, but however, maybe the project just needs to understand blockchain a bit more. Now, here's the thing. Crypto Chic will also be offering business blockchain courses, and it's geared for preparing potential projects and businesses who are new into
Hmm.
the space to learn blockchain from a business development side. So in a sense, now, this is where we talk about the adoption curve, and I'm going to mention it kind of quickly here. It's the idea that we don't want the project to miss out on a trend, because if a project
Hmm.
misses the trend, that's it. you know, how do we
Hmm.
change the direction of the project mid development so that way at least it will stay above the curve, before the adoption hits? So this is what we're looking at.
Hmm.
Graph, we identify through data, Crypto Chic, we look through the data and basically we find the best trend that is about to take place, put you on that trend. That way, when the adoption hits, your business is already there. Okay.
Right.
Basically, yeah, that's the adoption curve. Yeah. And we want businesses to really take advantage of this because this is a sought after skill set. Yeah. Instead of
Hmm.
basically, I'm going to say it bluntly, let's say wasting time, what we do is like, look, this is the data, this is what it's pointing to, and this is what will happen in the upcoming months. Is your project kind of aligned with these types of scenarios where the adoption curve is in your favor? Again, winning edges. We provide winning
Hmm.
edges. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. Again, the courses, the business blockchain courses, is to help develop and nurture upcoming, let's say, blockchain projects in the space to fine tune it with the education that we provide, and basically
Right.
then the projects can start asking themselves the right questions. After what
Hmm.
I learned, can we do this project? Let's
Hmm.
change it up a bit.
They
So
have to
now
validate it with
there
us,
you go.
and
There you go. They're asking the right
if it's
questions now
doable.
because they're educated. Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just to sum up
So.
everything, yeah, basically Crypto
Mhm.
Chic is data driven, we value added oriented, and we place projects on the most successful trend curve. Again, winning edges. Yeah.
Right. So I think there's just so much to absorb for this topic today. Even I learned that NFT was formerly known ERC 721. I never knew about the terminologies like that. But, thank you, Sly, for that. And I guess that is just not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for the show. And we will see you again on our next show. And we'll be back here in TNC.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.